That's a healthy-looking soup today.
Quite hearty-looking.
Thank you.
The Society of Jesus believes that serving others, especially those in most need, brings you closer to God.
That's, I think, a real breakthrough moment where people do feel a sense of human solidarity.
Social justice is the cornerstone of the Jesuit ministry.
I think that it's very clear that the Jesuits not only talk about the importance of social justice and community, but they actually do something about it.
The followers of St. Ignatius have influenced the civic calling of some of the most recognized leaders in Milwaukee.
It's where you find faith. It's seeing God in the eyes and the faces and the hands of those in need and being able to reach out.
The Jesuits are committed to justice, body and soul.
When I was in the legislature trying to decide on the value of a piece of legislation, often it would come ringing through. What's the prudent thing we should be doing here?
The Milwaukee Jesuits are best known for the commitment to urban higher education. They're also molding future leaders at Marquette University High School.
The story that you will begin today is titled The Voyage of the Northern Lights.
And they're developing the young talents in some of the newest Milwaukeeans at Nativity Jesuit Middle School. Elsewhere, Jesuit volunteer corps workers like Rob Saper are learning firsthand the meaning of living a simple life and service to others. Father David Shields offers an innovative approach to spiritual renewal on the near south side, while his brother Jesuits at Gesu Parish serve the souls in the heart of the city. It's all part of a day's work in the ministry of social justice for the Milwaukee Jesuits. This small urban park near Kilbourne and Plankinton helps explain just how deeply the Jesuit roots run through Milwaukee. Welcome to Père Marquette Park. It's here where historians believe the famous Jesuit priest and missionary set up camp for several nights under the stars in November of 1674. Father Jacques Marquette and his traveling companions were heading south along the Lake Michigan shoreline to open a mission for the Illinois Indians.
I don't think of him so much as a historical character as I think of him as a character that embodies a heroic spirit of early Wisconsin.
Stephen Avella is a Milwaukee Archdiocesan priest and professor of history at Marquette University.
The Catholic Church, who takes particular pride in Father Marquette, sees him as an instrumental part of the narrative of this city. How did Milwaukee get started? Who was here first? And that's always, for us Americans, a defining question.
Father Jacques Marquette was known for his wandering spirit and religious zeal. On an earlier famous journey, Father Marquette and his fellow explorers traveled the inland waters of the Fox and Wisconsin rivers to the Mississippi. That's where they ventured as far south as Arkansas, before heading north again to the Illinois River above St. Louis, then Lake Michigan, and back to Green Bay. Contemporary priests can only marvel at the energy of his ministry.
Clearly, he was a great passion for spreading the gospel, but also a great curiosity. I mean, the man liked to move around and discover.
And also somebody who has great shoulders and arm strength, because those guys all they took part in that. They didn't just ride along saying their rosary while these other guys, the voyageurs, were doing their thing. So he was a guy who I think liked to get up and smell the woods in the morning and get on the river. And what's next? What's out there? Where can we go?
And in that to, put up with fleas, mosquitoes, cold, the uncertainties of river currents, of probing into areas where there would be a great deal of hardship.
Father Jacques Marquette was among the first missionaries to bring the gospel to Wisconsin, but the Society of Jesus didn't actually begin its pastoral and teaching ministries in Milwaukee until the mid-1800s. And like the Jesuits who ventured to the region before them, another role model, Íñigo López de Loyola, provided the inspiration for their service. Born to a noble family in northern Spain during the late 15th century, the future founder of the Society of Jesus later took the name Ignatius. While defending the Spanish border in 1521 against France, his right leg was shattered by a cannonball. Ignatius displayed such courage during battle that his French captors tended to his wounds and carried him back to Loyola for a long and painful recovery. It's during this time that Ignatius experienced a spiritual conversion. His focus on religious reading, prayer, and meditation served as the foundation for what's now known in the Jesuit community as the spiritual exercises. The exercises are a powerful guide for examining one's conscience, use of talent for others, the goodness of the world, and the gift of salvation through the life and death of Christ. Later, while pursuing graduate work at the University of Paris, Ignatius shared his spirituality with a small group of classmates. After further studies, Ignatius and his friends were ordained to the Catholic priesthood, offered themselves in service to Pope Paul III, and became the first Jesuits, the Society of Jesus. Although prayer is the foundation for their ministry, Jesuits don't pursue a cloistered lifestyle. Their spiritual work is in the mainstream of society.
So Jesuit priesthood, insofar as we do what Jesus does, is to be for other people. Ignatius talked about this as helping souls.
Father Tom Krettek serves as provincial, the superior for the Wisconsin province of Jesuits.
Part of our responsibility, and this is the notion of both Jesuit priests and brothers, are to not only do the ministry that we're called to do, but to empower or make it possible for the lay people to understand the ministry that they're called to do for the church and give them the tools and resources to do that. And then that would be our spirituality, our education, the work in parishes.
Our education, I think, is different than a lot of other law schools where we talk about not only leadership, but particularly the option for the poor, the concern for the poor.
The Honorable Janine Geske is a distinguished professor of law at Marquette University and a former member of the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
St. Ignatius, as we all know, talked about the importance of being out in the world, seeing God in others. And so when you follow St. Ignatius's words, you're out there working with people, with the poor, with the disadvantaged, with the voiceless, and also carrying a spirituality and other kinds of spheres as he did, working with leaders, working with education, working with lots of other fields.
The beauty of Ignatian spirituality, in my opinion, is it qualifies you for living a public life, whether it's as a professor, a university leader, a business leader, or in public life.
E. Michael McCann is a longtime Milwaukee County DA, educated by the Jesuits, and an active layman in the religious community.
I deeply respect such spiritualities as Franciscan spirituality with its gentleness, its emphasis on kindness. But to live a public life, I go into a courtroom and recommend that a person go to prison for life, make hard decisions and public policy issues. I really feel that the Ignatian spirituality prepares a person for a public life.
They don't hide away somewhere. They don't go off and ponder in silence somewhere. They keep being part of the real world with their application, I think.
Former Lieutenant Governor Margaret Farrow's career in state government was also inspired by Jesuit educators. That spiritual formation still compels her to serve in lay leadership for the Archdiocese of Milwaukee.
I felt I could walk out of the door knowing what was out there in the world and how I should confront it. So I guess it wasn't surprising that I've done what I've done in terms of going out and trying to have some amount of impact on public policy.
In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen.
And so it is today, in the spirit of St. Ignatius and Jacques Marquette, that Milwaukee Jesuits are reaching out to inspire the lives of a younger generation. Nativity Jesuit Middle School is a priority ministry of the Society of Jesus in Milwaukee.
Spell Scotia. S-C-O-T-I-A. Good.
For more than a decade, Nativity has been providing Latino boys with an intensive educational experience.
Some of them have been in this country for 8-10 years. Others have just come to the country. And they are eager for education. Their parents are eager for education. They are extremely eager for education.
Greg Moyler is a career Jesuit educator, now serving as president of the Nativity Initiative.
I think we want these young men to be leaders in the sense that they know who they are, they know what their talents are, They will be committed to being good Christian men. They will be good fathers. They will be good spouses. They will be loyal and dedicated workers.
Nativity's board of directors recently took a major step in moving the middle school to a more spacious address near 29th and Greenfield. A multi-million-dollar capital campaign was organized to acquire, renovate, and help maintain the former school Sisters of St. Francis property. In addition, Jesuit supporters help underwrite the cost of tuition to keep it more affordable for families. And the families, in turn, are deeply involved in the life of the school.
So that'll probably count for third quarter then. I just draw the line there.
Nativity educators continue to mentor graduates through high school and college.
And congratulations to those of you who have achieved what you said you were going to set out to achieve in this quarter.
Rosario Sanchez is the Nativity Jesuit Middle School principal.
The families feel a sense of belonging here, a sense of comfort, and we deal with language barriers, and we remove those language barriers. We create opportunities for parent involvement, and the parents make a huge commitment, and in that sense it is a way of life because their kids are coming to and from school for a good part of their day and a good part of the year.
There the schooner picks up a load of building stone.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there.
In fact, a typical day at Nativity also involves afternoon sports and an evening study hall when students return from dinner at home with their families.
It's time in the evening where the boys can come back to school. The teachers are here, there's bright lights, there's tutors, and a quiet place to get their work done. They develop skills that they'll use in high school, and the discipline to sit down an hour and 45 minutes out of their day to just do their homework in a quiet place with teachers.
In addition, the Nativity experience includes a 5-week residential summer camp in northern Wisconsin. It's a chance for the boys to combine outdoor fun with further studies while building more skills in teamwork and leadership. John Seeley supervises social and international ministries for the Wisconsin Province Jesuits. He says the Nativity outreach effort is most significant.
When a province takes up a new work, like a nativity school, it's got a multiplier effect in the province oftentimes because it's going back to our roots, going back to what we do well, and that is education, and it's working with urban populations, particularly the urban poor.
Milwaukee County District Attorney E. Michael McCann agrees with that assessment. McCann believes Nativity is very much in keeping with the Jesuit mission.
That's just one example in Milwaukee where there's an outreach by the Jesuits to this impoverished, to a good extent impoverished, not all, group of immigrants that need that extra assistance. To have the fortune, the good fortune of going to a Jesuit middle school will be a blessing that those young men will take them years to appreciate what's at stake. But someday they will come to know what a gift they've been given by the opportunity to attend Jesuit Nativity School.
The vision of St. Ignatius is being fulfilled on the campus of Nativity Jesuit Middle School and on other streets of Milwaukee. Gesu Parish near 12th in Wisconsin is one of the most recognized churches in downtown Milwaukee. It is a symbol for Jesuit spirituality and social outreach. Completed and dedicated in 1894, the Gothic design has a prominent spot in the city's skyline. Inside, Jesu's dramatic stained glass windows provide an inspiring narrative of the life of Christ. The sprawling columns and tall ceilings set a majestic tone for worship, but the message preached here is basic gospel, with an emphasis on justice and service, especially among the urban poor. Jesuit Father Peter Etzel serves as church pastor. His flock is drawn from neighboring Marquette University, Metro Milwaukee, and survivors of the streets. All are welcome with equal dignity and compassion. Gesu Parish life is a vibrant blend of the powerful and forgotten, the haves and have-nots.
We have the very poor. We have street folks who come here, see it as a place of shelter, see it as a place too where they can find some peace in their lives that is just filled with so much chaos. Ignatius wanted his apostolates, the works of the society, to be in the city because that's where the action was, certainly at the time of Ignatius back in the 16th century, but also today. I mean, we are called to be in collaboration with others.
That collaboration involves working closely with Milwaukee's interfaith community on housing, hunger, and other related issues.
It's really important for people to know that their parish stands with the poor.
Eileen Geske is the longtime director of social ministry at Gesu Parish. She says the meaning of service is best defined in the scriptures.
His whole ministry was about walking about and meeting people that he didn't know, people who were outcasts of the society at that time. Just taking that first step is really a step to bring God closer to you through the faces of the others.
One gains from giving.
Yes, most definitely, and people say that all the time.
How are you doing today?
Trying to keep warm.
I know, it's so windy.
It's called the Noon Run, a Marquette University student volunteer program that lives out the gospel. It is a major commitment of time and energy.
Would you like a sandwich? Would you like white or rye? You're welcome.
Throughout the school year, students sign up to prepare and serve a free outdoor lunch 6 days a week to their hungry neighbors. An assigned parking lot near 19th and Wisconsin serves as an informal town square. It's a chance for the urban homeless and working poor to nourish their bodies and for Marquette students to learn about life on the streets. Marquette senior Adam Dre has been serving up soup and sandwiches since his freshman year.
I came into college very self-centered, focused on me and mine, focused on my family, building a family and a career for myself. And it's really changed to the point where I see there are many other important things in this world that need to be focused on and that need work. There are many injustices that need to be worked on, and it's kind of helped me to devote my life towards that.
Senior Emmy Malloy has been a Noon Run volunteer throughout her Marquette experience as well.
We talk about life. A lot of times it just starts with the weather. I think it's a lot more about community than food. If nothing else, someone can come for an hour and tell about their day and their story, and we're happy to listen.
And Marquette junior Ann St. Peter regards her years in the program as part of her Jesuit education.
How has this changed me in ways that I would never imagine? I've grown, become more aware of social justice issues, and really empowered me to go out and make a change, that realizing that behind the stats there's actual people, that there's people who are in need.
Hopefully this is just the beginning of a life of service. That's what Marquette wants to do with their students. We want to transform students so that they are actors in change, community change for the better.
Gerald Fisher is the assistant director for Marquette University Ministry and helps mentor the student program.
They become advocates for the issue. Why is it that there is such a need for affordable housing in this community? They get involved with housing trust fund issue. They get involved with the issues of our community, because it's no longer just some people who need something. There are people I know who are on the street tonight. They know that. And how can you not be changed by that kind of experience?
Marquette President Father Robert Wild thinks student service projects at his school like Noon Run strike at the heart of Ignatian spirituality.
If people can get out, if they can encounter the poor as people, if they can discover that they're not only going to give something, but they're going to receive a great deal, that's, I think, a real breakthrough moment where people do feel a sense of human solidarity, connectedness. We're all in this human family together.
The service culture at Marquette University is extensive. It's applied down the street, throughout the community, and around the globe.
But in engineering, students are going and building bridges with Jesuit students, physical bridges, construction projects or clean water projects, with students at the University of Central America in El Salvador, another Jesuit school. Or the nursing school is doing AIDS training and outreach for caregivers in Eastern Africa.
For people who are involved in social justice work, people who are involved in ways to try to improve this community, I think recognize the important role that Marquette has played and other Jesuit institutions.
Dr. Howard Fuller is a high-profile Milwaukee educator and a passionate civil rights activist. Long associated with Marquette University, Dr. Fuller currently serves as a distinguished professor and educational consultant.
They were fully supportive of my right to engage in those activities in spite of all of the heat that they were taking. Marquette has taken heat for my involvement in the parental choice movement. But not one time have they said to me, you cannot engage in this type of work, because they see this type of work as being central to what their mission is.
I know, I got the equation right here.
A squared equals x times 12 plus x.
I got the equation right here.
The Jesuit tradition of social outreach is also emphasized just a few blocks away near 34th and Wisconsin. This is the associated campus of Marquette University High School. The young men enrolled here are expected to follow a structured path of community service throughout their academic experience. A minimum of 170 hours of service is required for high school graduation.
A lot of these kids have never had the experience of really understanding or seeing poverty firsthand, or people who have been disabled in some way. And so it gives them that opportunity to just see a much broader aspect of the world.
Father Tom Doyle is Director of Pastoral and Service Programs at Marquette University High School.
I think in secondary ed, too, for us, it's always the idea that you're planting seeds. You have no idea where this goes. You know, it's one of those things that you plant seeds out there, you hope that people are having a broad experience, and then you hope that somewhere down the road in their universities and their other life experiences and stuff that it all starts to make sense.
To be challenged by the Jesuits to find God in all things and all people was certainly something that I took out of my experience here at Marquette High School.
Dan Quinnell knows all about the Ignatian experience. As a 1993 graduate, he came to appreciate the benefits of serving others. Now as a Marquette University High School educator and director of admissions, he's trying to share those same values with his students.
When I graduated from Marquette High, I didn't necessarily know what it was that I wanted to do for a career, but I knew what I was going to do needed to be something where I felt like I was making an impact on the world, on our human community, that the impact that I would have in my career would leave the world, I guess, in a better place in some kind of a small way.
Social justice in Milwaukee's Jesuit urban ministry is also applied with brick and mortar. In recent years, Marquette University has invested heavily in creating a seamless landscape between its urban campus and surrounding neighborhood. Major construction projects such as the Rayner Library, School of Dentistry, the L. McGuire Center, and spacious boulevards are some of the more obvious signs of renewal. But the university has also invested tens of millions of dollars in apartment and commercial properties throughout the extended campus. That in turn has inspired further rehab and development, pumping new life in the once decaying near West Side community.
It's really a carryover of the same sort of vision. We're all in this together. This neighborhood is, the university's in this neighborhood and needs to be a part of this neighborhood.
And I don't think that anyone who's really objective and honest could deny the positive impact that Marquette has had in this area. I mean, it's a much more beautiful area. I think that the work that Marquette did has led to other kinds of investments taking place.
Meanwhile, the Milwaukee Jesuits are also promoting social justice through spiritual renewal and a lifestyle in the tradition of their founder. This tiny courtyard tucked away behind a former convent at 4th and Bruce serves as a spiritual oasis in the busy near Southside neighborhood. The meditation garden and adjacent building are part of an innovative Jesuit-sponsored ministry called the Casa Romero Renewal Center. When Father David Shields saw the once vacant and vandalized property several years ago, he had an Ignatian moment. He thought that spiritual exercises of his order and related social counseling needed to be more accessible to the faithful, especially in the Latino community.
The whole idea of being accessible and affordable, for me, is really very big. Whether it's in this building or down the street or over at St. Patrick's, it wouldn't matter too much. But the idea would be that it's in the context, in the environment that is hospitable to having these things happen.
So a dedicated group of volunteers helped restore the residence, and Father Shields' vision of an urban retreat house was realized in 2001. Keeping Casa Romero afloat remains a financial struggle, but the ministry is in demand. Helping immigrant families deal with cultural change is a major part of the mission.
Especially in terms of relationships that are cultural, where cultural damage could be done. Relationships between parents and children where the parents come from one cultural background, the children are growing up here on the streets. How do we put these people together to improve communication, value traditions, value culture, value their faith? And that's very much what we're about here.
And I remember being there when we opened up the doors and came in and had to tear everything down. And it's wonderful now to see it in a completely rehabilitated stage, and it's open to different members of the community.
Dr. Rob Shelledy and other Ignatian associate men and women work closely with the Casa Romero ministry.
I know you're out of town. I'll send you an email and sort of confirm all the details.
Associates in Milwaukee and other Jesuit communities are drawn from various walks of life and professions. They embrace the Ignatian lifestyle of prayer, simplicity, and service to others. In addition to a talented background in law and political science, Dr. Shelledy relies on those Jesuit values for his current calling. As Director of Catholic Social Action for the Milwaukee Archdiocese, he inspires parishes and schools to be active participants.
There are many ministries of the Church's social doctrine, from respect to life to aid for the poor to the environment, and you can't do everything, so you find the one where you have the calling to be involved with. And Ignatius was very much on that.
So let's try this one out. How many 2/3 are in 1, or what is 1 divided by 2/3?
Rob Saper is also active in the extended lay Jesuit family. Following graduation from Gannon University in northwestern Pennsylvania, Saper entered the Jesuit Volunteer Corps Midwest. During his year-long commitment, Saper is living in community with 6 other JV members. And he's serving as a teacher's aide and assistant after-school coordinator at Notre Dame Middle School near 14th and Scott in Milwaukee.
Simplicity is really about making yourself available. The Jesuit Volunteer Corps emphasizes apostolic availability, your willingness to be there wherever the need may be. And when you're living simply, you get the clutter of material concerns, your own personal concerns. You're able to clear that out of the way so that you see the importance of relationship with your own community, with those you're serving.
Nope, multiply since you're changing it, since you're doing the reciprocal. You got to think that you're changing multiplying to dividing.
Rob Saper is still considering his future options when he completes his volunteer service in Milwaukee. But he already knows that experiencing the Ignatian way of life is changing his relationship with the world.
But I think the biggest thing that you take out of it is trying to be available for a service. You realize that your life isn't your own as much anymore, that you got to get yourself out of the way so that you can see where you can be of service to others.
The followers of St. Ignatius have made a lasting impression on Milwaukee. The Society of Jesus continues to help mold a sense of community and justice through social outreach, teaching, and pastoral ministries. That is the legacy and ongoing mission of the Milwaukee Jesuits.